Just kind of rain for, 48 hours straight. It'll rain 48 hours straight or even longer. But other than that, not too bad. In Ipiales, we were walking home kind of 9:15 at night. Got stopped by a guy with a big coat on, and turns out my missionary companion actually knew who it was. I was new to the area, so I didn't know who he was. But he asked me, he saw I was American, he asked me if I knew what a sicario was. And I was like, no, I don't. He's like, oh, like, I used to kill people for a living. And he wasn't happy with us because he had been seeing the missionaries and couldn't be baptized because he was a sicario. And he had to wait for like a, couple of years to get baptized. And so he wasn't happy with us. And it was a little frightening situation, having that guy mad at us there at night. But luckily his wife kind of, took him away, and we were able to make it home. So I would say just loving other people, kind of the charity that I talked about that people have there. Never seen kind of such love and such charity as the people at Colombia have. Cow tongue, cow feet, just every part of every animal that you can imagine. And then I also had guinea pig. Just every part of every animal, and then the different animals like guinea pig and stuff like that. Well, I guess learning to kind of wash my clothes. Every once in a while I had to wash my clothes by hand. And then I guess taking care of yourself, washing dishes and stuff like that by hand as well. So I would say the beginning of my mission, just weren't having any success. We were in a new area, so we didn't have a basis to start from. And I didn't know Spanish, couldn't talk to anyone. And then people kind of, they don't do it to kind of make fun or hurt your feelings, but they think your accent's kind of funny, so they'll kind of make fun of your accent, and that can kind of get to you. And I just remember, that being hard, not being able to talk and understand people, and then not having any success. And that was hard. And I remember just kind of like crying one night, just going to bed, just like thinking, oh man, like what am I doing here? Like, should I just go home? But I think that's kind of experience that every missionary has. So, it's okay to get to that point, and it's okay to cry about it. Like, just keep going through it, and you'll get over it. Just trust in the Lord. And it may take a little bit longer to have a baptism than you like, or take longer to learn the language than you like, but you'll get there. There's, tons of dogs and stuff on the streets. So yeah, definitely, just be aware that some of the dogs on the streets aren't friendly. So, but I personally didn't have any like super crazy encounters. And then there's a lot of horses. So they'll have like horses pulling whatever goods they're trading or whatever, kind of in the streets sometimes. So I remember one time we were walking in the streets, and my companion almost like went to like pet one of the horses in the streets, and it tried to bite him. And luckily he pulled his hand away just in time, or else it would have taken a few fingers off. So don't try and pet the horses. Pretty much everything in the handbook's pretty good. Most of the time you'll just be wearing the short sleeve shirts. Even when you're at Bialis, you can just wear your short sleeve shirt and then wear a sweater over it. You don't really need a heavy coat. I would say just kind of a rain jacket, and then maybe a kind of a black sweater that you would wear over if you go to Bialis. And if you don't bring it, it's no big deal. You can buy one there, or there may be one in there in the apartment the missionaries have left. Other than that, just good walking shoes like all missions, because you're walking the whole time for the 2 years. So and that's the only thing that you can't really buy there is like good walking shoes. Like you can buy some, but that's like the one thing that I had my parents send from home. Yeah, other than that, just good stuff to kind of have the weather. It's hot and humid, so whatever material you think you like for your pants and your shirts and all stuff like that. One that I had was right after we had the death of one of the missionaries in our mission, Elder Waddell, who he's now in the presiding bishopric, but he was in the area presidency at that time. He came and spoke to us, and I just remember him, super powerful kind of talk. Obviously, it wasn't like coming to talk to us about that because it was already a planned trip for him, but just super spiritual experience listening to him talk, kind of explaining to us, everything, and telling us how like it wasn't a tragedy, because of the plan of salvation and the gospel and stuff like that. Elder Bednar came and talked to us. That was super spiritual experience. And then just kind of seeing people change their lives. Sometimes you don't even have much to do with it. I remember we started teaching this like 13-year-old girl. Her dad was gone all the time. He was a truck driver, so he was never there. And then her mom would listen to us, but she couldn't really progress because she lived with her husband, but they weren't married. And then she had an older brother that was like 16 at the time, and he just didn't want anything to do with us. He was kind of always in the streets, kind of doing things that maybe a 16-year-old in the streets would do. Wasn't interested at all in listening to us. We tried to teach him once, just nothing. So, but she was going great, and we would take her to church and everything. And eventually, she got baptized. And then for some reason, he just got interested one day and showed up at church. We didn't even invite him. Showed up at church. We're like, "Hey, Andres, like, what are you doing here?" But then he started listening to us, started reading the scriptures, reading the Book of Mormon, stopped hanging out with his friends, stopped drinking and doing all that stuff, got baptized, and is preparing to serve a mission. So